Hello and welcome to this week's Live Local and Loud with me, Kevin Gaughan. On this week's show, I shall be chatting to the awesomely talented local singer-songwriter Jane Orton. And we'll also be playing lots of homegrown music by local bands. I hope you're all well and are having a great week. Let's kick this week's show off with a bit of Humble He and Bye Bye.
I heard a voice of reason and of rhyme, a simple truth. I heard the call echo down the corridor. Bye-bye. Oh, the winds of change are rolling through my mind. Bye-bye, as day was born from night. Too slow, too fast. It's only been a minute since an hour passed. Second guess, not a second more less. Bye-bye. Oh, the winds of change are rolling through my mind. Bye-bye, as day was born from night.
That was Humble He and Bye Bye. He can often be seen playing locally, but doesn't seem to have anything planned according to his Facebook page at the moment. Okay, so now it's time for a bit of Mary Singer featuring Gorilla Nature, who I saw last week at the Musician, and it's their song Who Will Buy, Bass Kicks version.
Who will buy this wonderful morning? I'm so high, I swear I could fly. Who will tie it up in a ribbon and put it in a box for me?
Who would dare to even try? Those who care know that they could never buy the air that we breathe. So why does the planet cry? Plants and animals prematurely die for you and I to keep what we think we need. Convinced by cheap marketing schemes, conceived through ego-driven desires, inspired by the greed of the allegedly pious, hired by each of us unwittingly. We stand by while our habitat bleeds, wasting so much that we can't even see the trees for the flames that burn ever higher, supporting the fame-driven culture we're caught in. Vultures reporting only to fiendish liars.
Who will buy this wonderful morning? I'm so high, I swear I could fly. Who will tie it up in a ribbon and put it in a box for me? Who will buy this wonderful morning? Sky so bright I ever did see.
was the great Mary Singer featuring Gorilla Nature and Who Will Buy, Bass Kicks version. Okay, so now let's rock things up and let's have a little bit of New Age Grace and Dead and Buried.
Finding safety in your home. Nothing can touch you when the lights are out, the TV's on. Block it out and numb your mind. It's not really happening when you make yourself blind. Make it all go away, and everything will be okay. Close your eyes, don't make a sound. There's nothing that you can do. What goes around comes around. It's hard to fight than to deny. Keep on the blindfold till the day that you die. Make it all just go away, and everything will be okay. What have we done? What have we done to this place? Such a disgrace. And what will we learn? The future is dead and buried. We refuse to change. Watch as it all goes up in flames. You're not yourself, you're not to make it all just go away, and everything will be okay. What have we done? What have we done to this place? Such a disgrace. When will we learn? The future is dead and buried. We refuse to change. Watch as it all goes up in flames. Remind yourself you're not to blame. Not to blame. Not to blame. Not to
That was the wonderful New Age Grace and Dead and Buried. They've got a few gigs lined up actually in sunny Leicester. On the 12th of the 8th, 23, they're playing the Sound House. 30th of the 8th, so that's next month, August 23, they're playing at Duffy's and Firebug. Oh, or Duffy's or Firebug, one or the other. And on the 8th of September, they're playing at the Metal Monocle in Leicester. And then on the 11th of November, back in the Sound House of Leicester with Siobhan, Matsy and Dead Rays. So yeah, number of dates if you want to see them live. Absolutely fantastic band. They've been quiet this year so far. I think they've been recording and getting stuff sorted. So yeah, it'd be great to see them. But meanwhile, let's have a little bit of Ruby Cyclone and Dragonfly Party.
Dragonfly party at my place. Stack of beetles are the stars. Hoverflies drinking the vodka. Who they think they are? Raiding the punch bowl. Lickety split. Kicking up trouble. Why do they do it? Dragonfly party at my place. Stag beetles are the stars. Hoverflies drinking the vodka. Who they think they are? Crawl on the ceiling. Regurgitate fruit. Why do they do that? He says I'm rude. Doing the conga. Wasps round the bin. They open the window. And moths fly all the smashed insects, legs in the air. Spiders aren't insects, but they don't care. They don't know the trouble I'm in when my folks get home. They don't know the trouble I'm in when my folks get home. They don't know the trouble I'm in when my folks get home.
That was the wonderful Ruby Cyclone and Dragonfly Party. Of course, Ruby Cyclone, brand new band. They formed late last year. They're part of the Unglamorous music project, which is a collection of all female, all punk bands. Well, generally punk, grungy, sort of rocky bands. And yeah, I spoke to Ruth Miller about that last year. If you want to check out that interview, look her up on musicinleicester.co.uk. You'll see a handy playlist on the right hand side. It'll be somewhere in there. So yeah, that was Ruby Cyclone. Look forward to hearing some more exciting stuff from them. Okay, now it's time for this week's interview, where I'm chatting to a local singer-songwriter, Jane Orton. But first of all, here's her song Lullabies.
It's cold tonight, I don't mind this loneliness being end to me. Metal's heating, leather warms my body. When the night is cold, the dark will be a friend to me. It's lonely, it's rebel life I ride through the ruined cities, through the night. If I sleep before the sky gives way to neon sunrise, heaven's fire, humming engines sing me lullabies. Every street is sleeping, I'm leaving. Sad to be a rising star when no one sees you shine. Every town I'm passing by is calling. another waiting room for a restless heart like mine. It's lonely, this rebel life I ride, through the ruined cities, through the night. If I sleep before the sky gives way to neon sunrise, heaven's choir of humming engines sing me lullabies. One day, in a foreign wasteland, I'll find other broken minds. We'll make prisons into playgrounds. We'll move on together. It's lonely, this rebel life I ride, through the ruined cities, through the night. If I sleep before the sky gives way to neon sunrise, heaven's choir of humming engines sing me lullabies. If I sleep before the sky gives way to neon sunrise, heaven's choir of humming engines sing me lullabies.
That was Lullabies by the awesomely talented Jane Orton, who is this week's special guest here on Live, Local and Loud. Hello there, Jane. How the devil are you today in your sunny room?
I'm very good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
That's quite all right. Thank you for being here. Thanks for chatting with me today on my little show, Live, Local and Loud. Right, let's start at the beginning. Like all good stories, let's start at the beginning. Now, just briefly, what made you want to become a musician? How did you discover your talent for making music?
I didn't really set out to become a musician, actually. I was just unemployed and started learning the guitar. This is kind of just after the credit crunch, if you remember, the big credit crunch.
2008.
Yeah, so it was a few years after. So I sort of picked up the guitar anyway and started learning, and then just started writing songs, really, and that's how that happened.
I've noticed your style's quite unique, isn't it? Because am I right in thinking, is now my terminology could be wrong, because my knowledge of music making is limited, but is that like your higher frequencies? Is that your head voice, your falsetto that you'd like to use?
I do use a head voice a lot. Yeah, I do use that. I mean, I'm really glad you framed it like my style being unique. It's more that there's certain things I can and can't do, so I just do the things that I can do. I think Johnny Cash was a bit like that, actually. There's certain things he couldn't do in it, so he just went full throttle on the things he could do, and then it made a really unique thing. So if you're framing it in terms of being unique rather than just I can't do certain things, that's great.
Okay, so I mean, nothing particularly inspired you to use that range. It's just something that you wanted to do because you were good.
Yeah, I think. I think it's just really what inspired me was kind of Liam Gallagher. And I'm not going to ever be like Liam Gallagher, you see, or kind of those punk, those 90s punk bands like Rancid and things like that, and Johnny Cash. Like, so my problem is all the musicians that I like are people that I could never hope to emulate if I tried. So it's more a case of their songwriting and their ethos that kind of inspires me in terms of writing the song, but then I just sort of have to shuffle along with what I have physically to kind of make it work. And then of course that's going to be very different from what they do. I think it's really it's but more of a mishmash than something that's carefully planned and crafted. I can't really take any credit for anything else, really. I wish I could be a frontman like Liam Gallagher, but I'm just not going to be able to be like that. Noel Gallagher, in terms of his songwriting, I know one time he'd said, you see, he always puts kind of a happy twist on things. I remember that he said he really liked Nirvana, but they brought out this song called something like I Hate Myself and I Want to Die or something. And he was like, that's when I wrote Live Forever. And that kind of not sort of taking too pessimistic a view. There's a lot of optimism, I think, in Noel Gallagher. Then other musicians, I mean, I always grew up listening to Rancid. They have this really strong sense of kind of music being about friendship and community. A lot of that stuff really inspired me as well. So it's more kind of finding what's special in life and then kind of making it into music. I never think music is just about sound. I think it's about ideas. So all of those influences have kind of gone into the songwriting. But like I said, just it would be kind of like pushing a round peg into a square hole, or is it the other way around? Square peg, round hole, whichever way around it is. So I'm not going to try and make myself sound like those people. But equally, people that I might be similar to in terms of the kind of music I can do, they're not necessarily people that have kind of spoken to me. And I don't want to sort of then go down the route of trying to be something I'm not, just because I could maybe sound like people that other people want to hear. So I guess it's just finding your own way, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of which, we've just played Lullabies. Could you tell us about the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, it's about motorcycle trips across America. Not necessarily America, but that's where I've taken a lot of my trips when I've been touring. So yeah, that's what that one is about. Because
you did quite a tour, didn't you, a few years? Is it about 2015, 2016-ish?
Yeah. The first two times I went, it was just in 2013 and 2015. That was in California, and that was on a Triumph Bonneville.
Right.
And then when I first started doing it, it was just the motorcycles. But then later on, I did tours, kind of mixing it with the music. So the last few I did, this is before the pandemic, it was 2015, 2016, and 2018. They were kind of all over the place, really, but I guess the southeastern part of America, so Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, places like that, New Mexico, and that was on Harleys and Indian Scouts.
Wow, that's amazing. And you did that all on your own, did you?
Yes.
And you were performing, you're playing, so you just had your guitar on the back and just cruising around?
So no, I don't take the guitar on the back. If I'm combining it with a bike trip, then I'll get in touch with the venue first, or sometimes I'll hook up with a local band who kind of already plays the venue, so they've got people that know them that will come and see them. So I'll contact them, arrange to do a gig with them, and then they'll have a guitar for me. Or otherwise, I've just contacted the venue, so they have a guitar for me. Or I'll do a gig before the bike trip actually starts, and then I can fly out my own guitar and use that. But I've never really worked out the logistics of adding a guitar to the bike, but that's how I'll do it if I'm going to combine the two.
Unless somebody invents a fold-up one or something like that.
There are musicians that take bikes on the back. I've seen it, but I'm not going to do it. I just think there's too much potential for disaster there.
Yeah. Or use a ukulele. That'd be a lot easier, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'm not very good at ukulele though, but yeah, that's another option.
Oh, okay. That's quite interesting, because I speak to a lot of musicians who'd love to tour America. So you've actually done it, but I guess you've organised it all yourself, and I presume it's hard work, was it, doing all the organisation?
Yes, it is. But the thing is, it pays off, because I think if you're one of these big famous people and you know that people are going to go and see you, then that's great. I'm not one of these big famous people, so the best way to do it, I think, is to kind of research where you want to go, and see what local bands you might want to reach out to, and then that is a lot of work. But the thing is, it's so worth it, because then you make all these contacts, you discover all this music from across the world. Yeah, it's really worth it. It's time consuming, but it's worth it. Right. The other thing to think, if you're doing it on a bike as well, I don't do so many dates. Like, sometimes on these tours, people are doing gigs every few nights. It's not really workable on a bike, because you want to enjoy the actual trip as well. So you want to leave yourself time in between venues to enjoy the bike trip. So I think that's kind of the best way I found to do it.
Does it actually pay for itself?
It depends whether you ask the US visa department or not. So it depends what visa you go in on, and whether you're allowed to make money. And quite a lot of musicians anyway, when they're based in America, find the tips. So unpaid gigs can turn into paid gigs, because there's far more of a culture of tipping there.
Oh, right.
If musicians are going to go to America, they've got to really think about the kind of visa they go in on, because there are certain rules about that. But that's something for people to look into.
Okay, but if they did have a a visa that enabled them to do paid gigs, then might that pay for it? Then that might pay for the whole
Um,
tour.
that's really going to depend on what kind of numbers you're getting.
Oh, okay.
So it depends, and where you're playing and things. I don't know. That's an individual thing, I think.
Yeah. So it sounds like the best thing to do would be see if you can find a band that are touring and then latch onto them and ask them if you can support at some of their dates.
Yeah, yeah, I've never done it like that, but that's a possibility. Yeah, I mean, like if you want the experience of going out there and just playing there, maybe building up kind of a support base in America, just individually contacting bands in different towns and then striking up a relationship. Because then again, like I said, that's a lot more legwork, but I think that's a good way to do it from the ground up. If you're looking at making money and you don't already have a big fan base in America, maybe your idea of trying to be a support act, and then I guess like I said, I've never done it like that, but I guess then your visa issues and payment are sorted for you. But it depends what you want, really. For me, I'm kind of all about communities and people, so my priority is more building links with people than rolling in the mega bucks from touring.
Yeah, I see. And enjoying yourself and then just doing that in the background. Oh, okay. Brilliant stuff. That's really interesting. Okay, well, let's play another one of your songs. We're going to play Game On. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind that then, Jane?
Well, Game On is actually the song I ended up walking out to in my first ever white collar boxing match.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So
hang on, white collar boxing. What's that about then?
So that's charity boxing.
Oh.
So you're not necessarily going in at amateur level or doing it professionally. Anyone can do it, actually. I'd already been training for a few years. We did it for one of the local charities, actually, Rainbows. So you sell tickets and raise money, and then you do the bout. We did it at the Leicester Arena, you know, where the Riders play.
Oh, yeah.
So then the money goes to charity. That's white collar boxing.
Okay, so let's play it. Here's Game On by Jane Orton.
Don't all Russia wants to play. The meanest cheating the game. As it is the only thing was him making me play safe. I know what love is now. I know I'm cruel without it. I know I can be reckless when it's gone. If you wanna play game on. Broken, bruised and free. Fight outside the rules and see the damage I can do to you. Now I have nothing to lose. I know what love is now. I know I'm cruel without it. I know I can be reckless when it's gone. If you wanna play game on. I'll break your heart if you let me in. This is where I turn heel, game on. I know what love is now. I know I'm cruel without it. I know I can be reckless when it's gone. If you wanna play game on. All rush at once. Don't all rush at once. Don't all rush at once. This is where I turn heel. This is where I turn
that was Game On by the awesomely talented Jane Orton, who is this week's special guest here on Live, Local and Loud. So, Jane, you were telling us about your gigs in America. I imagine it's a gig. The gigs you are playing in America must be quite different to the ones you play in Leicester, would you say?
They can be sometimes. Yeah, it just depends. Some of the Leicester scene is quite varied though, so I don't think there's anything really like a typical Leicester gig, really.
Good point. Good point. I went to one the other day. There was rapping, acoustic. It was all sorts going on. And some guy at the end, I forget his name, but he was playing about 3 or 4 different instruments all at the same time. Oh, he was looping them. That's what he was doing. So yes, yeah, that's a good point. Actually, they're quite different. Have you ever duetted with anybody?
Not really. No.
If you did, is there somebody that you'd love to do a duet with?
I don't know. Should I say Liam Gallagher? I think that might be a bit of a headache.
You never know. He might be listening. You might get a phone call from him.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no. I think someone who's very different to me. I'd like to do something, possibly a male singer, but whoever it is, someone with a very different style, maybe, and kind of feel. I quite like contrasts like that.
So, with all your stories that you've got to tell about, I'll bet your gigs are quite fascinating. Do you talk about your travels in your gigs?
Sometimes. So it depends on the gig. If I've played some kind of quieter, more folk venues, I've brought in some of the anthropological research that I'll do. I've played some Himalayan, I mean, not me playing, recordings of Himalayan music I've collected kind of interspersed between my songs sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And I just did one at Leicester Uni where I played some music I collected in Bangladesh. So that's, I think, more for folk audiences. They're probably, because I kind of research folk stories and folk songs as part of what I do today. So for folk clubs, they're probably more interested in that. For other venues, sometimes it depends. Sometimes you'll get the backstory of, the motorcycle tours and boxing and things.
Okay, brilliant. So let's bring it more up to date. So what are you up to these days? Have you got any songs or any albums in the making?
I've nearly recorded an album, which it has been in the works for a while, but I've just got one song to do. And then I'll have an album.
So have you got a deadline for it then? A time where you hope to do it by?
Maybe a self-imposed deadline by the end of the year.
Yeah, right. You've just mentioned it here now on Live, Local and Loud. Let's do it. Everyone's expecting it now by the end of the year. Actually, that would be good timing, wouldn't it? Because it'd make good Christmas presents.
That's very true. Very true.
Excellent. Brilliant. Good. Okay. So, and have you got any, do you play any festivals at all?
I'm doing the Melton Folk Festival in a couple of weeks' time.
Oh, wow. It's only Melton Mowbray, which reminds me, actually. So which gigs have you got coming up then, Jane?
So this Saturday I'm playing at the Soundhouse Summer Sessions. It won't rain. It'll be great. The weekend after that, on the Sunday, the 6th, I'm playing at Melton Folk Festival.
And the Soundhouse Summer Sessions, you've played there before, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
To somebody who's not been there to one of their summer sessions, because I know they have them regularly, how would you describe it?
Right. So don't worry if it rains, they'll put us on inside and we won't get wet. If it is sunny, they've got a really nice outdoor staging area in the beer garden. And again, that's been really varied. It's always laid back. What I like about it is you get to hear a lot of original songs from local musicians. There are people playing covers and things, but you get to hear a lot of original music, which that's one thing I really like about it from local bands. So I think I said to you before that one of the big draws about music for me is it's all about people and communities. So I think the closer you can get to kind of these local artists, a lot of unsigned acts, people that write their own songs, that is one of the most valuable things that music can give you. And that's if you whatever the lineup is on one of these summer sessions afternoons, like I said, it can be really different styles of music and really varied, but you are always going to get a sense of something really authentic from musicians in the area.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That well said. And on that lineup, you've also got Amber Saclardi, Les Eastham, from Dust and Debris, but he's obviously on his own that particular day, and yourself. So that's on Saturday, 29th of July, 2023, from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And it's free entry as well, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
And it's dog friendly. I was seeing on your Facebook page, if you've got a dog, you do bring him along.
Prince doesn't come. That will be a bit chaos. But I do have a dog, yeah. Well, I have half a dog. I have half a white German Shepherd, and my dad has the other half.
Right.
So, yeah, so I share Prince with my dad.
All right, that sounds good. So that would be brilliant. Like you say, if it's raining, indoors, and lovely, lovely. And they're ever so friendly there as well, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Okay, brilliant. So you got that coming up, Melton Mowbray, super duper, and your album's going to be released hopefully in the not too distant future as we get towards the end of the year. That's brilliant. And how can people contact you, Jane?
So I'm Jane Orton UK on all platforms. My website is janeortonuk.com. Instagram is Jane Orton UK, also Facebook and Twitter. Probably Instagram is the most active of all of those at the minute.
And before we go, we're just going to play one more of your songs, the intriguingly titled Litter Bins of England. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that then, please, Jane?
Oh, that's just a song about making mistakes and changing your mind. So that's one of the ones I do like to play in America, because Americans love the word litter bin, like they love the phrase litter bin.
Oh, right.
They think it's cute because it sounds English, and but yeah, it's just generally that feeling of, I've changed my mind so many times, probably going to carry on doing it. That's the sense of that song.
Oh, I see. So I suppose they call it trash over the trash bins, or what do they say then?
Trash cans, I think.
Trash can.
Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent. Well, thank you very much for chatting with me today, Jane. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday at the lovely, lovely, lovely Sound House around 1 o'clock. So that would be great. And let's just finish off with Litter Bins of England.
Thank you.
If I tell you my story, I'm afraid you'll go and leave me. If I seem shy, forgive me. Friends mean more to the needy. Take me to the temple, I'm breaking all my vows. Take me to the station, I'm getting out of town. Take me to the devil, I'm buying him a drink. The litter bins of England are full of things I used to think. If there is a God, then he's hungry. He loves me 'cause I'm a feeder. I've given up on believing fortune comes to the needy. Take me to the temple,
me chatting to the wonderful singer-songwriter Jane Orton. Can't wait to see her this Saturday at the Sunny Sound House on their summer session. So yeah, that'll be great, that will. Meanwhile, let's have a bit of Stevie Jones and This Is My Church.
Walking my dog out in the field, I found a new religion to the sound of the Walkman connecting with me. My first gig was in 81. I saw the whole live at the NEC, and my ears they rang for days, and I thank my father for the fire it gave me. This is my church, these are the roots of me. This is my church, these are the roots of me. I found a world of C90s, all of the tapes my uncle made for me. Robert Johnson and Neil Young, Hendrix, Kraftwerk and David Bowie. David Bowie filled my head, every album was a brand new journey. Mom and Dad play Supertramp, Van the Man, Queen, Floyd and Joni. This is my church, these are the roots of me. This is my church, these are the roots of me. 6 years old, down a yellow brick road. The sofa was my piano. On a Thursday night, with a plastic guitar, wanted to be Mark Bolan. I saw the Clash at Manford, worshipped the ground of the punk rock style. Death Cult before Bauhaus, and the energy it blew my mind. On my walls were curtains, a melody maker and the enemy, and tuning in to John Peel and the Tube on a Friday as I had my tea. But this is my church, these are the roots of me. This is my church, these are the roots of me. So we headed to Brixton, 200 punks on a southbound train. We headed down to Brockwell Park for the Spear and the Damned and the NMA. Changed my world with the pride and the passion and the family they gave. I bought a bass and formed a band, ignited the fire that burns in me today. This is my church, these are the roots of me. This is my church, these are the roots of me. This is my church, 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 these are the roots of me.
That was the wonderful Stevie Jones and This Is My Church. He can next be seen in the area on Friday the 11th of August 2023 at the Sunny Musician. He's doing a grunge night, actually, a tribute to the sounds of Seattle. So that sounds good. Friday the 11th of August at the Sunny Musician in sunny Leicester. Okay, so meanwhile, it's time for a little bit of Anne Duggan and Hurricane.
There's a hurricane a-comin', it screams out of the night. If you can't outrun the devil, you're gonna have to stand and fight. So stay or run's the question, take a gamble, place your bet. You gotta make that big decision and live with what you get. So board up all your windows, barricade your door. Forget about your hopes and dreams, you won't need them no more. You feel your heart a-pounding, stop a minute, take a breath. He thinks your time has come, but he ain't got you yet. Trembling, the devil's reached your door. Lightning bolts smash the roof, the thunder shakes the floor. You hide down in your basement room as he calls to you. But this all ain't going nowhere, I'm gonna see the night right through. There's a hurricane a-comin', screams out of the night. If you can't outrun the devil, you're gonna have to stay and fight. By daybreak it's all over, desolation all around. You pull yourself out of the dirt, plant your feet down on the ground. You clear away the wreckage, you gather up what remains. And you'll be standing out waiting if the devil calls again. There's a hurricane a-comin', screams out of the night. If you can't outrun the devil, you're gonna have to stand and fight. There's a hurricane a-comin'. 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 There's a hurricane a-comin'.
That was the wonderful Anne Duggan and Hurricane. She can be seen on Sunday, this Sunday in fact, the 29th, no, Sunday the 30th of July 2023, and she's performing at the Donkey in sunny Leicester. That's an afternoon gig, so it starts at about 4:30. Not too sure, that might be free actually to get in, but that's at the Lovely Donkey up Welford Road in sunny Leicester. So that'd be great, absolutely fantastic. If it's raining, I'm sure she'll be playing inside. If it's not raining, she'll probably be outside. So yeah, great stuff. That brings us to the end of another live Local and Loud with me, Kevin Gaughan. I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget, if you want to know what's going down musically in sunny Leicestershire, check out our gig guide in www.musicinleicester.co.uk. Also, if you want to listen to any previous live Local and Louds and the interviews therein, check out our playlist on musicinleicester.co.uk. There's a handy playlist on the right hand side. So do have a great week, and I shall see you next Thursday here on Hermitage FM at 5 o'clock.